For today's class, I'm going to be showing an activity where I use a block. So if you have a block, I recommend that you get a block available for you today. If you don't have a block, I highly recommend that you get a block in your life. And I went in the local Walmart just to confirm they do have blocks for sale, and they're really inexpensive. You know, under $5 for your basic block. And don't worry about the size of the block. Yes, some blocks are bigger than others, but you know, pretty much any size block will do. And if you don't have a block today, you can use something like a pillow, because we're going to be using it as a cushion for our knee area. So it's not going to be necessary that it is an actual block. I'm just going to show it with a block today. I recommend you don't just get one, but you go ahead and get 2 blocks of the same size so that you can use them for more things. So if you, as I said, if you don't have a block today, not a problem. Get a pillow or something that's soft that you wouldn't hate having your knee resting on. And if you do have a block, any block will do. And there you go. So sometimes I do use props, not as often these days, since I'm not sure what everybody out there has in their yoga life. But sort of like having a mat, you want to have certain equipment so that you can do more things.
Because the truth can save lives.
Okay, so we are reaching that point in our class that is actually the start time of the class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put us on mute. And this is not to stop us having conversations. This is to say that you have to be more deliberate in your conversations, and you have to take yourself off of mute. Mostly what I'm trying to do is to make sure that that our background noises do not interfere with your ability to perceive the class, because I know sometimes, depending on what you're listening to me on, my microphone may not transmit as loud as you would want it to. So indeed, we'll just cut back on all the background noises, and you talk to me when you want. And always, when you've talked to me, put yourself back on mute, because then there was an issue with Zoom transferring the video to the person that's speaking, whether it was me or not. So we've got to get through that and hope that Zoom catches up and makes that no longer a problem. Okay, so if you will, come into a standing position. Let's familiarize ourselves with how we are right now, because just because we're in our body doesn't mean we know what we're experiencing. So let's shift weight to one side and then bring the weight over and to the other side. So we're starting to feel the difference between one foot and the other, but we're also feeling how that affects, upstream, as the ankle, the knee, the pelvis, the back, even all the way up to the neck. You start to notice more because you're being deliberate instead of in that unconscious life we often live. Now, station yourself so you feel you got an even amount of weight to both of the legs, and then just begin to twist the shoulders. Now, let your arms just hang as limp as possible so they begin to flop around. And that is somewhat difficult to do. You just got to get relaxed and let those shoulders just, be there. But as you start to warm up to this, your arms can swing more, and you can turn with more vigor, and your arms flying out will begin to bump against your body. And all of this is a twisting action. It's both used as an energetic connection to the body and letting the energy, as it's called, flow in the body, and also as a physical rotational component that is beginning to move and heat up the areas of our spine. Very important consideration to our warm-up. So back and forth we go. Nicely done. Okay. And you can continue to do that as long as you need, but I'm going to switch over to taking the arms up and letting them just fall down. And that could be something that we do very lightly, or we can throw the arms down. But you may find, like me, if you throw the arms down too vigorously, you got to keep the weight back on your heels, so you sort of toss the weight backward as your arms come down. And here again is another physical action. It's going to affect neck and shoulder region, as well as it's considered an energetic connection through the structure of the body. So 2 for 1. Good. And this one might make us feel a little bit of imbalance, and we're going to go with that. We're going to softly bend our knees and just take the weight onto the toes enough that we actually make ourselves lose our balance. And then we're going to bring our weight back and onto our heels. And with the knees bent, we're going to lose our balance probably more quickly. And we'll go back and forth. And we just go into a crouch. And we want the crouch to be there. When you trigger a loss of balance with your movements, You'll find out what you would likely do in the event of a real balance situation, which usually happens when we're walking. So put one foot forward. Come onto the toes. See if you bend your knees over whether you lock them. See if you're able to recover your balance with ease or whether it's a big struggle. And all it is practice. And of course, practice makes us more proficient. Other foot forward. So sort of like introducing the concept. So we're not coming at it, totally cold. We've done a little bit of this, and if you do it a little bit every day, your body's ready. It's ready. You're not going to have such a disaster. Good. All right. Warm up the ankles. Let the weight go all the way to the inner edges of the foot. Let the weight come all the way to the outer edges of the foot. Go as far as is comfortable to you. So as you're creating this movement, you're moving your ankle joints in a way that you probably don't deliberately move them. And so the muscles don't necessarily know how to contract. The tendons and the ligaments might not be in the right place. In fact, the bones of the ankle that are stacked atop each other might not be in the right configuration for a good arch. So now we'll create the arch by standing with the weight balanced between the big and little toe at the ball of the foot. And then we'll push the heels away from each other, and you'll feel the shift. You'll feel the engagement all the way up into the hips. You look down, oh, what a beautiful arch. Lift your toes up. Pull your fingers back, stretch the front of the hand, the bottom of the foot, and squeeze your toes down and grip your fingers to the top and contract the muscles, but in a different way so that we're cross-training. So when we pull back, we use the muscles in the back of the hand, wrist, and forearm. We use the muscles in the top of the foot. When we squeeze down, the muscles are in the palm or in the bottom of the foot. And, hands are used in a very particular way, but feet are, they're practically silent partners to us. We don't consciously use the toes. Spread fingers and toes wide. Bring them together narrow and tight. And just feel that. And sometimes it's amazing how much we can move. And it's also amazing and, and pleasant when we can't move, when we think we should be able to move more. Move big toes towards each other. Now, these are great warm-ups to any exercise, but they're also really good in cold weather because I don't know about you, but my fingers and my toes get cold when it's cold outside. Big toes down, heels pushed out. Lift the small toes up and down. You can move the fingers too. Small toes down, heels push out. Lift the big toe up and down. And then push down the big toe, push down little toe. Lift the 3 center toes up and down. And so that's physical training, but it's also brain training, as is all physical training. Very good. Now we stand. We activate that arch, but we create the aligned posture, the hips back over the ankles. We'll lift the spine from the tailbone up through the top of the head, putting the chin level. We'll let our shoulders come a little back, sink a little down, and we'll breathe into the belly. And on your next breath in, we're going to move the arms in a pattern. We're going to bring them out and up, inhaling. And as we exhale, we're going to bring the arms down the front, but we're going to keep changing the pattern. And we'll feel this in different places. In the shoulder, sure, but in the neck, the upper, and the lower back. Inhaling, and now exhaling. Keep changing your pattern. Inhale to the side. Feels different, doesn't it? Exhale. Inhale the other way. And exhale. Let's do it all again. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Again. Keep a nice rhythmic deep breath. Arms rise. And we're going to lift the center, the side of our chest. And as the arm reaches up, we're going to inhale. Exhale, release. We sometimes only partially lengthen, so we're going to go full length. Center line, side line, arm reach. Inhale. The parts of it extend pretty far into the body. Lift the center, the side of the arm. There's a portion of fiber from the arm that goes all the way to the pelvis. Inhaling. Exhale. Lift center, lift side, stretch up. So connectivity all through the body. Exhale. Good. Take those hands, interlock them together, press out your palms. Now bring the arms and the chest up, and as you upward lift, you're going to spiral as you go up and into that stretch. Inhaling. Exhale, release your spiral. Then up, lift, and spiral up, and inhale. And then exhaling. Now we're going to uplift. Now maintain the length and lift even more. And make sure you're very long so that you have a comfortable arch back, no jamming in the back. Deep inhale. Exhale, release those arms down, let them swing a bit. Now we're going to bring up the chest, squeeze together the shoulder blades, and reach the arms back. Exhale. And we're going to bring the shoulders forward. I want us to focus the breath in between the shoulder blades, rounding the shoulders forward. So we reach and we squeeze back and we exhale. And we take the shoulders forward, we inhale. And once again, the reach and the squeeze back and the exhale. And we just let that come apart. Good. Now stand, those feet should be a little wider now, about shoulder distance wide. And we start the spin so that, you know, we're again twisting, and you could keep this simple twist. But I'd like you to isolate to a deeper layer. I want you to uplift your chest and turn your shoulders. Try not to move your hips at all. So back and forth we go. And the deepest part of us is moving. That's creating the movement. So there's some limitation. It can only go so far. And then we're going to upward lift, and we're going to pivot our pelvis. Yeah. And that's good. Now push your feet and your knees out away from each other. Pull in your core. Bring up your chest, but lower down your shoulders. Let your hand push into one leg and let yourself tilt to that side. Keep the pelvis at center. Lift the ribs and the arm up into the stretch. Take a deep breath in. We're going to exhale and lift ourselves all the way up and out. And we press out our feet again. Pull in the core, chest up, shoulders down. Press into the leg on the side. Tilt. Lift the ribs and the arm up into the stretch. Pelvis stays centered. Deep inhale. And we exhale and we lift ourselves up and out. And now we're going to change our angle. We're going to take those feet nice and wide, but keep that beautiful arch. Bend those knees a little bit. Lift the chest up. Shoulders toward the earlobes. Put your heel of the palm into this crease line between the leg and the pelvis and tilt forward so the heel of the palm rests firmly on the legs. On one side, you'll begin to press the heel of the palm, begin to straighten the elbow, let that shoulder stay near the earlobe, and you may not get the arm completely straight, but you will feel a stretch in the spine. Take a deep breath. Exhale, let the elbow bend, and then the other side, we begin to press, straightening the arm whatever amount we can. Take a deep breath. Exhale, the elbow bends, and now both sides. We begin to push, we begin to straighten, we lengthen, we take another deep inhale. Exhaling, we bend the elbows. Now, keep your hands up high for a moment. I want you to take your weight to one side and straighten the other leg, and we'll do it at a higher angle right now. We'll get the inner thigh into a bit of a stretch. We're breathing deeply. And then we're going to come back to center, and I want you to take your weight to the other side, and then we'll stretch that inner thigh a little bit. Very good. We're going to come back to center. I want you to bring your hands down. Bend your knees enough that the back of the leg is in a controlled stretch. And gradually let the head hang. Let the shoulders hang so that we're decompressing. We're reversing the weight on the spine, opening it up instead of compressing it, breathing deeply. We're going to do the inner thigh stretch again. We're going to take our weight to one side, straightening the leg. And you can bring your hips down lower even than where they are if you like. It's comfortable, breathing. And then back over and adjust those hips. Very good. Now coming to center, we're going to let our hands stay in the middle. We're going to bring our shoulder up and toward the back for this twist. We're going to press out into the feet for stability. Chest away from hips for spinal length. Arms stretching up for more twist. Take a deep breath. Exhale. The other hand comes down. We bring our shoulder up. We press out the feet. Chest away from hips. Arms stretching upward. Inhale. Exhale, we come back to center, bend the knees. Hands come up onto those knees, we lift the chest. And take the shoulder across the body slowly, lengthening between the shoulder and the pelvis, and all sorts of stretches will occur. Breathing and then experiencing that on the other side, just gently stretching. And we go back to that first side, inhaling so those ribs open up wide. Exhale, reach across. Inhale, open the ribs up wide. Exhale, come on to center, bend your knees and come up. Okay, so we've done a number of things that started us in a progressive warm-up. We're going to continue our warm-up through sun salutes, but this is where you might want to modify things more just to keep yourself comfortable, because you may find that some of the things I ask you to do are just not right for you today or right now, or maybe you want to intensify them. That's okay. Let's start our feet hip distance, but with an activated arch, and the hips are back. We lengthen from the tailbone to the top of the head. The chin is level, the shoulders come back, and the shoulders come down. Now breathe into the belly, lifting the arms up. As we're exhaling, we grab the elbows, bend our knees, bringing the chest down to a forward bend. The elbows could stay up on those knees. They could also hang down. You can bend the knees to adjust the stretch of the legs. Head and arms are hanging, and we're just trying to maybe sway a little side to side so that everything relaxes a bit more. We decompress that spine even more. Breathe in nice and deep. And on this next exhale, place down your hands, step your right foot back into a full lunge, leaving the left knee over the ankle. Lift up the right hip. Balance the ball of the foot. Your heel reaches back, your chest and shoulders pull forward, and you're going to hold an active arch in that left foot. Now use a light pressure on your hands, or for more intensity, one or both arms stretch forward, and just take a deep breath. And as we exhale, we get those hands flat. We step back in plank, and the abs pulled in tight, core engaged, chest forward, hips and heels back. Deep inhale. Exhaling softly, lower down the knees, and then let those hips come back and toward the heels comfortably until your elbows can come down, forehead can come down. And breathing into the belly, we'll just sway our shoulders from side to side. And you may find that that's a very comfortable release in the shoulder, in the neck region. Breathing deeply in that belly. Then we're going to come a bit more forward with the shoulder over the elbow. We'll sway our hips from side to side. But you know, if you wanted to be a little bit more intense, you can put the knees together and pivot the feet from side to side, which would activate the side of the waist just a little bit more. Now let's flatten the top of the foot and press the palms evenly. Let's come forward and into upward dog. The shoulders travel forward, the wrists, the collarbones lift as we sink down the hips. Press the hands and the top of the foot evenly and lift up those collarbones. Deep inhale. And then on exhale, we're moving back to downward dog. So lift the hips and push the chest toward the thighs. Palms should be evenly flat, thumbs pulling toward the feet. We want to reach a point where our head is between the arms. But we're going to balance on the ball of the foot and bend at our knees. We're going to lift the hips and push the chest toward those thighs. Now to keep the neck comfortable, keep those shoulders move a little toward the hips and breathe deeply. If you like, just paddle those heels down and up. Create a little more stretch into the back of the leg. Deep breathing. On this next exhale, we're going to step our right foot forward. But you know, you can bring your left knee down at any time if you need some help getting that right ankle under that knee. Lift up the left hip, balance the ball of the foot, heel reaches back, chest and shoulders pull forward, right foot holds its arch, and it's a light pressure in the hands, or if you prefer, one or both arms are forward. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, we step forward, feet hip distance. Press into those heels, bend the knees, pull the belly tight in. From the squat position, we inhale up. And exhale. And then round two. Inhale up. Exhaling, grab the elbows, bend the knees, chest coming down. This time the elbows are going to touch against the shins. And then we're going to pull our shoulders toward our hips so our neck is released. We're going to press those arms into those legs to move the ribs toward the knees so the spine is long. We add to that feet and knee pressing outward, outer hip engaging, breathing into the upper back, nice and deep. Another breath. Exhale, hands placed. It's left foot stepping back now, and we go into a full lunge, but then we transition to side angle, left heel down, left shoulder up, right elbow up and on the knee. Let's bring our hips into the middle of the mat and move our right knee toward that right edge, engaging the outer hip. Let's lift the left shoulder above the right shoulder and lengthen the right side shoulder away from the hip. If you would like, let's put the left arm behind the back to work on lifting the shoulder higher. Make sure you have activated arches, and then if you like, for more intensity, right arm can go forward. Take a deep breath. And then on the exhale, flatten those hands evenly. Step back in plank. Your abs are pulled in tight and you're lengthening. Your chest is going forward, hips and heels back. Inhale. Exhaling, softly lower down the knees. Hips go back toward those heels until the elbows can come down. But we're gonna make a nice stretch in the ribs. We're gonna walk the right hand forward to pull us a little beyond the knees, and we're gonna sway over to the right side. The rib is now stretched out like a bowed out area. Breathe into that right side. So every breath, you're gonna feel the expansion. You're gonna feel the resistance to the expansion. Things are stretching, joints are moving, the lung is filling up more than normal, and all of that is going to end up allowing us to take a full deep breath. Now, Exhale, come on to center, hands even. Left side's going to do it. Hand walks forward. We sway over to the left. We start the breathing, and we feel probably a difference, left side versus right side. And so it's natural that the body would be looser on one side, tighter on the other. This is a way we use ourselves, not completely the same one side to the other. Exhale, chest to center, hands even. And now we're coming slowly forward, upward dog. Shoulders travel forward to the wrist. The collarbones lift up as we sink down the hips. And we're going to press our hands in the top of the foot evenly. We're going to lift the collarbones, deep inhale. And exhale, back, downward dog. So lift hips and push the chest toward the thighs. Now, feel the evenness of pressure on the palms, thumbs pulling toward the feet. Gain the balance onto the ball of the foot. And lift the heels. Bend those knees and lift the hips. Keep your chest pushing toward the thighs. But focus on your shoulders. Let's pull the shoulders toward the hips strongly. And that's our lat muscles. Let's press our hands and elbows toward each other. That's our pectorals. Let's widen between the shoulder blades. That's serratus anterior. And this muscle trio helps to stabilize our shoulders. Keep lifting the hips. If you want, paddle the heels down and up. Keep breathing deeply. And when you're ready, on your next exhale, step your left foot forward into lunge, full lunge, ankle under knee. Right knee can come down if you need it. And then side angle. The right heel rolls down, the right shoulder lifts up, the left elbow comes up onto the knee. And we place our hips into the middle of the mat, and we move our left knee toward that left edge, lengthening the side, right shoulder above the left shoulder. We can bring the right arm behind our back to help lift that shoulder. We keep the activation of our arches. We could stretch that left arm forward if we wanted. Take a deep breath. And then on exhale, we step forward, feet hip distance. Push down into those heels and bend the knees with belly tight. Inhale up from the squat. And exhale. And then one more round of it. We're going to inhale up. Exhale, grab the elbows, bend the knees, chest coming down. Now, in this one, elbows can be on the legs and the arms can hang. It's what you do with the upper body to feel comfortable, because we're going to focus on the lower body. We're going to create the activated arch and lift the toes. We're going to press the feet and the knees outward so the outer hip engages, and we're going to let the rest of the body sort of hang or be traction so that the effect is going to stretch the structure of our spine. It's going to release tension from that pelvis. And we'll take one more deep breath doing this. Exhale, relaxing. We're going to place our hands and step our right foot back, and we'll go to low lunge, bringing the right knee all the way down and letting the top of the right foot rest. And we're making a twist, so we're going to put even pressure to the right hand, left hand to the knee. And if you wanted to be a little gentler, you just twist straight over, or if you want a little more intensity, lift first, twist, and then sink down. Tighten the right seat muscle, lengthen the right side, breathe into the right side deeply. And then on exhale, placing hands flat, step back in plank, abs pulled in tight as we lengthen, chest forward, hips and heels back. Inhale. Exhaling softly, lower down the knees, hips back toward heels until the elbows can come all the way down. Now, push against your palms firmly and lift up your elbows. This will allow you to squeeze your shoulder blades tightly together. And I want you to focus on that nice, tight shoulder blade area. Breathing into your belly as you're doing this. Deep breaths. And on this exhale, bring those elbows down. Push down on the elbows. Lift the spine in between the shoulder blades and breathe into the shoulder blade space. Good. On this exhale, forward to upward dog. Shoulders travel forward to the wrist. Collarbones lift up as we sink down the hips. Hand and top of foot pressure even. Lift the collarbones. Inhale. And then exhale back, downward dog. Lift the hips and push the chest toward the thighs with those palms evenly flat. Head between the arms. Balance the ball of the foot and lift the heels. Bend the knees and lift the hips. Keep pushing the chest toward the thighs, and let's pull shoulders toward hips. Press hands and elbows toward each other. Make it wide between the shoulder blades. Now, you can stay like that, paddling the heels, or you can shift weight to the left, lifting up the right foot, or even stretching the right leg all the way up. Take a deep breath. Exhaling, right foot comes down, shifting weight to the right foot, lifting the left foot, or maybe stretching the left leg all the way up. Deep breath. Exhaling, left foot comes down. And we'll step right foot forward. Left knee's going to come down, so if you want to just bring the left knee down first, you can do it that way. Let the top of the foot rest, and then we'll twist. Even pressure on the left hand, right hand to the knee. Either twist straight over, or lift the hips and twist, sinking down. Tighten the left seat muscle, lengthen the left side, breathe in the left side deeply. And then exhale, and we'll step forward, feet hip distance. Press down into the heels and bend the knees with belly tight. Inhale up from the squat. And exhale. And that's great. All right, now let's, with our warmed up bodies, re-lengthen our spine. So stand with those feet wide and bend the knees a bit and lift the chest until those shoulders are up near your earlobes. Heel of the palm of the crease of the leg. Keep it right there as you tilt on your right side. Work to straighten the arm, and you may be able to get a little straighter now that you're fully warmed. Take a deep breath. Exhale, the elbow bends, and then the left side. Push. See what happens. Maybe you feel a difference. Take a deep breath. Exhale, that elbow bends, and now both sides we push. We let both arms go straight. We take a deep inhale. Exhale, and we bend the elbows, we bend the knees, we come up and out of that. And that's great. Okay, now I have something in mind for us because I want us to create some relationship changes between the front and back of the leg, an area that is prone to shortness. The front of the hip is very short, the hamstring area is very short, and we think of these as a need for stretch, but these are also a need for activation. And so I want us to create some activation. We're going to start in a standing position. We're going to get a little bit of the activation higher up in the hip line. And so I have a stand, feet about hip distance, and we're going to step our right foot backward just a bit, not too far. The right foot turned out 45 degrees. Don't be on a tightrope. With one foot behind the other, you won't be able to do the rest of this. So we got a little bit of space to the left and right edges of our mat. Now the left knee is going to bend over the ankle, and the right knee is just going to bend. And so right now, we probably don't feel all that much happening, but we want to push the right heel down. We want to push the left heel down too. But the right heel pressure, I want to act as if I'm moving my leg back behind me. I'm not going to, but I'm going to push it backward, and this engages our glute area. Now, because we've got the glute engaged, we may be able to open the front of our hip. So we're going to tuck under our tailbone a little bit just to feel maybe a mild stretch right here in the front. Engage your core and pull your chest upward while you're doing all this. So heels pressing down, we're trying to move the right leg backward to engage the glute. We're tucking under our tailbone, and we're keeping our left heel active and the left knee over the ankle as we lift our spine upward. Take another deep breath. And then we exhale and we step out of it. And we'll do this on side two. And so the left foot is going to be stepped backward. The foot turned 45 degrees. We're on our left and right edges of our mat. We bend the right knee over the ankle. We bend the left knee a little bit. And then we push our heels down. And it's that left heel pushing downward, that left leg trying to move backward. Seat muscle engages. It could be different one side to the other, so expect that. Tuck the tailbone under a little bit, opening the front of the hip a little more. Pull in the core and lengthen. So the heels are pressing, right knee over the ankle. Left heel pushing, like trying to push the leg back. Seat muscle engaged, tailbone tucked under, core engaged, long spine, inhale. Exhale, we step out of that. That's a really good one. That's a good one if you've been sitting for a while. Let's do it again. So perhaps in your mind, if you've been sitting a while, you go, oh yeah, I got up from the chair. Let me step a leg backward. Let me bend my knees. Let me push this leg back, this right leg back, tucking under the tailbone, pulling in the core, making the spine long. So it's not a very difficult to do action, but it probably is making us very aware of that seat muscle and maybe a little aware of the tightness in the front of the hip. We'll step out of that. We'll do the second side. So the left foot steps back. We bend the knee. We push into the heel, trying to push that leg backward. Seat muscle engaging. We tuck under the tailbone, pull in the core, lengthen the spine. So the more we practice something, the more that becomes an identity in the mind. It physically changes the brain so that that area is magnified. It gets bigger, stronger. The connections to the other areas increase. And of course, our muscles also are trained to increase. Let's come out of it. They're trained to respond better. Very good. And one area that does not respond very well is back here. It is the line of our hamstrings. We complain about them being tight, but we never really do enough to bring them to the quality of relationship they need to both the front and back of the leg. And that's why I said, hey, if you have a block, let's use a block today. If you don't have a block, a pillow, because we're gonna give a little bit of support, a little bit of height, a little bit of cushion to our knee. And we're going to be doing it from a lunging position. So, you know, we may have to fiddle with this block a little bit. I'm just going to sort of put it down and go, okay, there's where my block is. And this is my right leg. It's going to be in the back of it. So I'm going to step my left foot forward, my right leg back until I'm in a lunge position with the left knee over the ankle. And I'm going to put this block where my right knee can come down onto it, but I'm not going to be satisfied resting on the kneecap. I'm going to have to maneuver a little bit so that I'm off that kneecap, not feeling unpleasant. So that's the position, whether it's a pillow or a block, it's under the right knee. And you can see that this has lifted my knee up a little bit, not having it sink all the way down. So I've got a nice control to the stretch that I'm going to create, which is this. Here's my stretch. I put my weight on my hands or my fists, and I come forward, letting that left knee move a little forward. And I feel a little bit of sensation of stretch right here. I want to act like I did in the previous pose, as if I'm pushing my leg back behind me, and lo and behold, my seat muscle engages. But also, as I pull forward, I want to gently bend my right knee. Maybe not a lot, maybe just a little. Maybe it's just a suggestion of bend, or maybe you're able to bend it more. But you're going to notice an activation in the back leg, hopefully not a complete spasm, and it will stretch the front of the leg. Take a breath, and then as you exhale, straighten the leg, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the other side. Not by switching, just by backing up by the other side. I mean the other side, left leg, back of the leg. I'm just going to stretch back. It won't take me very long until I find the stretch point of the hamstring. And if I want to stretch my calf, I can just lift the front of the foot upward, and it's like, well, hello there, tight muscles. But we're using the front of the shin to stretch it, so it's a really high quality stretch. But then we're going to go forward again. Weight taken onto the arms to help support us. We push the right leg as if we're trying to push it backward. The seat muscle engages. And then very slowly we bend the right knee. Maybe it's only a suggestion. Maybe you're saying, I'm not going to bend it again because it went into a spasm when I bent it the first time. Okay. Take a breath. And then putting the foot back down again. We're going to stretch ourselves backward just to the point. It won't take much. It won't take much. You'll get some stretching. If you want to lift the front of the foot up, you get some calf muscle stretch as well. Deep breathing. One more time. As we exhale, we come forward, work our way forward. Act as if we're pushing the right leg back to get the seat muscle to chime in. Slowly bend the knee to have the hamstring activated. It may not be much movement at first for you, and that's okay. That's okay. Take a breath. Exhale one more time. We use the backward movement to get the stretch in this left leg hamstring area, and maybe to lift the foot to get it in the calf area. Deep breathing. And that's great. We're going to come out of it, but what we're going to do is we're going to do a little rest pose in between. We're going to put our knees down. We're going to stretch our arms forward into the child's pose. You can even have the top of the foot resting down if you like. Or you walk out on your toes. And, we were doing some stuff with our arms, so this is allowing the shoulder to stretch. And you may feel right now a little difference in your right side versus your left side. So it's quite possible that right and left feel different from each other. In some, maybe even unquantifiable way. You don't even know how to say it. They just feel different. And that's fine, because we did something different with each. So now, we're going to come out of that. We're going to put the block so that our left knee can come against it. And we're going to move back into the lunging position. So the right leg is going to be forward and the left leg will be back. And then I got to sort of figure out, where's my knee going to go? And my knee rests down on the block, which could also be a pillow. And so there we are in our beginning portion of this. At first, the right knee is over the ankle. But then I take my weight forward. And the right knee moves a little bit beyond. I've got the weight on my hands. I'm going to push as if I'm pushing my left leg backward. And that's going to engage the left hip. And then we're going to bend the left knee. And maybe this side can bend more, and maybe this side can bend less. I'm just going to see what's happening. What does it feel like? And as we exhale, we're going to lower the left foot back down, and we're going to move our body backward, straightening the right leg just the amount we need. So it's the right hamstring area. Yeah, I still have quite a bend in this leg. I don't need to straighten it all the way to get a stretch. And if I want to lift the front of the foot, oh, hello, calf muscle stretch. Take a deep breath. Exhale, we're moving forward. We're pushing the left leg backward to engage the seat muscle. We're slowly bending the left knee to the amount that we want the hamstring experience, to the amount that we want to stretch the front of the hip. We'll take a deep inhale. Exhaling, we're lowering the left foot. We're stretching our body backward. We're moving backward to the point of a mild, mild stretch. Lift the front of the foot up. Breathe deeply. Don't make it miserable. There's no reason to make it miserable. Just lighten it up. Lighten it up. Your posture may not be like my posture. You might be deeper into it. You might be less deep into it. And as this exhale happens, we come forward, stretch. As we push the left leg backwards, seat muscle engages. As we bend the knees, the hamstrings engage. And we take a deep inhale. And then as we exhale one more time, we move back. And then we stretch the back of the leg. We can lift the foot so that the calf is stretching too. And we'll take a deep inhale. And we exhale. We're going to come completely out of it into child's pose. Arms stretched forward. Child's pose is a very modifiable pose. You can be on the toes. The knees could be wide. The knees could be narrow. You're finding your way into what is the most excellent position for you. Breathing nice and deep. And that's great. I'm going to come forward. We can do a bit of releasing. We're going to go into our transitional twist. So I want you to start where you're seated and your feet are wide and your knees are wide. And you're sitting on your tailbone. We got to learn to sit on our sitting bones so that we're not creating problems for the spine. So we're up on our sitting bones. Our hands are back behind us at first, and we're just lengthening, nice and long. We're going to take our legs toward the left, and when we do, they're going to form a zigzag pattern as they fold. We have the option of doing that. We're going to seat completely on this left side, and the legs are a nice little zigzag. And the left arm is beside us, and we're going to take our right hand around to the left knee. Now, to create length, we're going to lean a bit and pull toward the left, but we're very slowly going to bring our right shoulder around into a twist. You make it the right design for you. Take a deep inhale. And then exhaling, we move ourselves back and out of that twist. And we'll do it again. We're pulling to the left. The hand can be in any position close or far from the body. We twist slowly around with the right hand on the knee. We inhale. And we exhale and we undo it. And once again, we pull ourselves to the left. We pivot the right shoulder around. We take a deep inhale. But now as we exhale, we go a little more into it by putting our hands onto the mat and walking our hands a little further away. Don't strain in any way. If you can walk far enough away, you can bring the left elbow down. You can stretch the right arm forward, but don't lower the right elbow for now. Just put the palm down and just let your body move toward the fingers. And then the right side of the pelvis, we're gently going to pull it backward, whatever amount we can, and take a deep inhale. And then exhale, the pelvis just comes forward. And we again pull toward our fingers, and the right side of the pelvis, we pull it backward, deep inhale. Exhale it forward. And again, move toward the fingers and begin to pull the right side of the pelvis back. Deep inhale. Now as we exhale, we just we can let that right elbow come down if it can, or just keep reaching toward the fingers. And I want you to straighten the right leg and just reach the right ankle away from the hip. Pull the chest toward the fingers, a reasonable amount of stretch. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, we bend the right knee. We start to walk our hands toward the body so that we can bring ourselves up and out of that. And let's get the other side. Let's get the other side. So as we're sitting with our feet nice and wide, we uplift our spine and we let our legs come toward the right. Outside of the right leg down, inside of the left leg down in our zigzag pattern. Our right arm's beside us. We can pull, and our left hand goes to the right knee. We pull to our right. We pivot the left shoulder around. We take a deep inhale. Exhale, we come out. And we pull to the right. We pivot the left shoulder around. Deep inhale. Exhale, release. And we pull to the right, we pivot the left shoulder, deep inhale. But as we exhale this time, we just bring the hands onto the mat for a slightly deeper twist. Very comfortable though. We're going to bring the right elbow down, but it's under the shoulder, so the side of the waist is long. We're going to walk the left hand forward, but not rest the left elbow down. And our goal is to pull our body toward those fingertips, but very slowly pull the left side of the pelvis back. Take a deep breath. Exhale, the pelvis goes forward. Pull toward the fingers, and again, the left side of the pelvis, inhale, pulling back. Exhale, forward. And we pull toward the fingers, and once more, left side of pelvis pulls back, inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll see if we can lower that left elbow down, and if not, just keep the hands, or keep the body, excuse me, pulling toward the hands. Straighten that left leg, reach the left ankle backward, and pull your body toward the fingers at the same time so that you get a reasonable amount of stretch on that left side. Take another deep breath. And then exhaling, bend the knee, start walking the hands back toward the body so that you can bring yourself upright. And we're going to sit. And it might be very useful to sit yourself up on that block, on that pillow, on that bolster, on the couch cushion, in the chair. We sit ourselves up so that we have a better expression of alignment through the spine, because our target's going to be our arms. You know, you could sit if you wanted to fold your legs back. It's called the hero pose, but don't do it if it bothers your knee, which it does for most people. You could sit with your legs forward in all sorts of expressions, and that's fine as long as the legs are doing the same thing. But if one leg folds in, the other leg should fold in too. I like to fold my legs in. It's just a personal preference, and you'll have one as well. And so we sit. And as we sit, we are really invested in this long spine, because that is the information superhighway of the spine, reaching brain to body. So uplift, take the weight off the joints, take the pressure off the nerve structures. As you've uplifted, let's begin to roll one shoulder forward and up and bring it back and down, and the other side, forward and up and back and down. So we're creating this nice movement, this movement where you will feel a lot of sensation. Let's see, I heard a microphone become active, so I'm just gonna take that off of, hang on. Oh, we'll do that again. There we go. Okay. And so we're rolling those shoulders one direction, and then we're rolling those shoulders in another direction. Good. Now take your hands, that uplifted spine. Now, so as microphones come active again, somebody need to ask a question, that's great. Fingertips touch, and then we're going to roll with the elbow rolling forward. Okay. Y'all keep doing that again. Unless someone needs to talk to me, I'm just going to hit that mute all again. There we go. Because otherwise, big chance that things are happening in that screen that I don't intend. Okay. And then if you have already, roll the other way. Okay. Now those movements are letting us know that there's some stuff going on in the shoulders, in between the neck and the shoulders, all sorts of things happening right there. And that is the consequence of us doing so much with our body in different ways. One of the things that I want us to experience is a release of the neck structure. So I'm going to have us take our fingers and we're going to turn. So if the thumbs are pointed toward my body, I'm going to touch my thumbs to my collarbone area. And this is going to allow me to just take my fingers and place them in the back of the neck. And I'm going to put my little finger right at the base of the skull, so it's below the skull, into the neck area. And then the rest of the fingers will probably extend down over the majority of the back of the neck there, depending on, you know, size of hands and stuff like that. So we're in a position where we'd say we're sort of braced, but there's no compression. We're not squeezing anything. We're just gently there. And I want you to notice as you lift your head, center of the head upward, if there's any movement, and just relax it, and just see lifting the head up. And you may feel that when you lift your head up, there's a tiny bit of movement in the neck. So notice that. But now, very slowly, bend your chin towards your chest. Notice the feeling in the back of the neck. This is a movement of the neck called flexion, and the back of the neck is sort of pushing into the hands. We can feel it rounding downward. And then we're going to lift our chin up. And what we'll feel is that the hands are getting squeezed because the neck at the back of the neck is getting shorter as the front of the neck gets longer. Okay. And then we're going to come back to where the chin we would perceive is level to the floor. So this next movement will not have the bones of the spine pressing into the hands as a tucking down, nor will it have the chin lifting. It will keep the chin level. And what I'd like you to do is lift up the top of the head and move your head gently backward. And you're going to feel that the curve of your neck has slightly increased without shortening. Take a deep breath. Exhale, release. So we're not doing this in any harsh way. We'll do it again. Top of the head lifting up. We'll just pull our head backward, curve, increase, inhale, exhale. It's called retracting the chin. And we'll do it again. Head lifting up, but the chin stays level. Don't dip it down. Just pull the head back. Take a deep breath. And then exhale and just take the arms down because I know they get tired of being there. Now that is what we're feeling is the evidence of the head being very likely to being more forward than it should be. And we need to back it up there. But this is helping us get to those muscles that create that proper alignment so that the ear line would be over the shoulder and not this head that's ever turtling forward of our body. All right, so let's keep that ear line over the shoulder and we're going to stretch the front of our chest. So we're going to have our arms off to the sides, okay? Now, actually just let the arms hang down for a moment because I want you to focus on this chin level. Squeeze your shoulder blades backwards. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And it's like, well, that's nice and tight, right? We can feel it because most of us are strong enough in those rhomboid muscles to feel that action. We release it and then we can just sort of let our arms go forward and most of us can feel a bit of stretch between those shoulder blades. And we'll do that again. Shin staying level. We'll just pull our shoulder blades backward. And that's the movement that a lot of us think that we need to do in order to stop our shoulders from being rounded forward, but it's only part of the movement. Let the arms come forward, widen between the shoulder blades. We really need a little bit of assistance to get in proper alignment. So chin still level, lift the head up. Point your palms down toward the mat. Lift the entire spine up from tailbone through top of the head, chin level. Lower the shoulders a bit, and then let's add that shoulder blades pulling together. But there's more. Keep the shoulder blades together and lower each shoulder just a little bit more. All right, now we're feeling a little bit of stretch. And there's a little bit more. Keep that happening. And then just pull the head back with the chin level, just a tiny bit. Oh, we're probably going to feel something. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale, let it all go. Now, you might have been like me, and it just felt like everything was getting more tight and more tense. Right, because the body's not used to being in proper alignment. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Let's turn our palms upward. Okay. So from the tailbone to the top of the spine, we lift up and we lower the shoulders. Now we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together, but the arms are now in a turned out position. It'll feel different. We're going to lower each shoulder blade down the amount that seems like a good idea. Shoulder blades still squeezing together and the chin remaining level. We're going to pull the head just a little bit more backward. Take a deep inhale. And then we exhale and let all that go. And that has created a nice alignment. It's pulled the shoulders back. But let's release a little bit more. Let's pull one hand to the hip with the palm up. And let's take the other hand and let's push it across our body. This comes from Tai Chi. But I'm pushing in a downward direction toward the floor. And then I'm going to pull the hand back to my hip. I'm going to take the other hand. I'm going to push across my body in a downward direction. I'm going to come up a little higher this time. I'm going to pull my hand back to the hip, and this time the hand comes, so it's somewhere between my knee and my shoulder. Yep. And I'm going to pull my hand back. I'm going to push the other somewhere between the knee and the shoulder, that angle. All right, so I'm going to pull my hand back. This time I'm going to push my hand. It's going to be about the height of my shoulder. And I'm going to pull my hand back, and I push my hand across at about the height of the shoulder. And I'm going to be a little bit above the shoulder, a little bit higher. And I'm going to pull back, and I'm going to be a little higher. But now, as I pull my hand back to the hip, the other hand goes up, and it's sort of pushing toward the ceiling, way up there. Pull my hand back toward my hip, and the other hand goes up toward the ceiling. But I've sort of climbed the ladder, so I'm going to climb back down, and I'm going to be a little bit between where I was and above the shoulder. And the other side. And now I'm going to be about the height of the shoulder. And then somewhere between the shoulder and the knee. And now I'm going to push all the way down toward the floor. Great job. All right. Very nice. Let's now move on to our back. I've got some stretches for the hip I'd like us to do in a slightly different format than I sometimes do them, because I like switching things up. I like seeing what the benefit is, because the reality is there's a lot of benefits for doing things in a variety of ways. It just depends on what you're seeking. So we're going to come on to our back. Now, let's make sure the neck and the shoulder know that we still want them to relax. So once we're on our back, we sort of raise the arms, we widen the space between the shoulder blades, we move our shoulders toward those hips a little bit. Make sure that chin is pointed upward. And we'll even move the pelvis a little further away from the ribs, sort of flatten and arch the back just a little bit. So we're comfy. Now, I want my feet to be hip distance wide, my knees to be hip distance wide. And I want to cross my right ankle at my left knee. Now, normally I just have a stay here for a bit, but not today. I want the legs to come toward the body. And there's this nice little opening. I'm going to put my right hand between the legs and place my right hand on the back of my left thigh. And then my left hand is going to come and join it. And I'm going to pull my left leg towards me as I feel the experience of a stretch in my right hip, and I bet you do too. Now, don't pull any closer than you need to for that right hip to feel a comfortable stretch. That's what we're after. And if you don't feel any stretch, you can pull a little closer. But if you do feel stretch, don't just keep pulling closer. You can rock a little bit to the left and the right. And often I do this where we start out on the floor. But today I thought it'd be nice if we just started out in what most people think is the only format for what's called a piriformis muscle stretch. This is one of the ways to format it. But there's another way to do it too, which involves more muscles than this. So we're experiencing this, we're opening up to it, and maybe it's still pretty tight. Now, just very slowly, keep that right ankle crossed. Don't uncross it, but just lower the left foot back onto the floor. Now, the right ankle's still crossed at the left knee, and now the left foot's all the way down. I want you to check out the side of your waist. Is the left side and right side the equal length? And if not, make it so. Is your low back now able to curve away from the floor slightly? Is the front of your pelvis now allowed to be level? And then you can move the right knee a little further away, and you'll re-experience maybe not so much stretch in the hip, but maybe a lot of companion muscle sensation of everything else that is in the way of you truly opening that hip. So there are muscles in the pelvis, in the lower back, in the side of the waist. Those muscles might be preventing us from truly opening the hip because they never let us experience our limitation. So breathe in nice and deep. And then exhaling, we're going to change positions. We're going to bring that right leg out of the position. We're going to put our feet hip distance. And we're going to cross the left ankle at the right knee. And then immediately bring the legs toward the chest. And we're going to take our left hand in between the legs. We're going to place the left hand in the back of the right leg. And the right hand's going to be there too. And we're going to pull that right leg toward us, which is enough to probably stretch that left hip. You may not have to bring it very close. It might be looser on this side. It might be tighter on this side. And you're just going to make a comfortable stretch, and you're going to rock a little side to side. And the piriformis stretch is named after the muscle that it's most predominantly stretching, which is a very deep pelvic muscle known as the piriformis. And it functions differently when the hip is bent than it does when the hip is straight. So we would call it in a straight leg position, it turns the hip out, but in a bent hip position, it turns the leg in. So it's a rather interesting muscle that changes jobs depending on the posture of our hip. So breathe in nice and deep, comfortable stretch, and then we're going to keep the ankle crossed, but lower the right leg. And then what's our side of the waist doing? Is the left side closer? Is the right side closer? Get them even. Is the low back now allowed to arch from the floor? Can we get the front of the pelvis level? In other words, let's make this a nice neutral pelvis and low back area, and then ask that left knee to move a little further away while still maintaining all this neutral position. And that will get all of the companion muscles involved into some activation and stretching so that they will stop allowing us to have a really tight hip. So we're loosening up what needs to be stretched by saying that the hip doesn't live alone. It has a lot of companions. Take another deep breath, and then as we exhale, we're going to uncross. Let's keep the feet down for those that will, spreading the feet nice and wide. Let's tilt the legs toward the right, letting the left side of the pelvis lift up, and we'll reach our left knee a little bit out there so that we experience this nice stretch. If you want to take the left arm alongside your head, what a nice left side of the body stretch we're creating. Deep breath. Exhaling, we're going to come back to sit, and we'll move that left arm out of position. And then we're going to take our legs toward the left, allowing the right side of the pelvis to lift up. We're going to reach our right knee away. We're going to have the option of stretching the right arm alongside the head. And we'll get a nice stretch along that right side. Oh, breathing deeply. And then we'll come upward. Now, there's a lot of options for you. You can continue to just, with the wide leg spread, rock back and forth. A lot of people love this. But others prefer to bring the feet and knees closer together. That adds a little bit more twist, and you could do that. And others prefer to have the feet off the floor with the knees toward the chest. You could do that. In all those situations, we do keep our shoulders down so that we isolate the stretch into the lower back region. And if one position doesn't seem to be right for you, then switch to another one. Because there's some things that you have done that you know make the end of your class better, that make your body just right. Maybe we didn't do the stretch that you love and you need to do it right now. But when you're ready to, you will take your legs and you will straighten them out. And we're going to start from the neck and the shoulders. We're going to have that chin pointed up. We're going to broaden the space between the shoulder blades and then work the shoulders away from the head and toward the hips. We're going to have the palms face the ceiling as we spread the arms downward. We're going to flatten and arch our back a little bit. We're going to shimmy our pelvis, moving one leg a little further away. We're going to tense and loosen our seat muscles, and then we're going to turn our hips in and out. Now, we've done that little bit of adjusting, and I want you to make a soft fist in the hands. I want you to bend your toes down. I want you to bring contractions into the forearms and upper arms, contracting from the calf to the legs. And then as you take your nice deep breath in, contract everything else that you can think to contract. And then exhale and let go of all contraction. Go limp and soft and open the palms and let the feet turn outward and soften the face. And have your next focus on your breathing. Inhale into your belly. Expand it. And expand the sides. And expand the lower and upper back. And expand up into the shoulder blades and collarbones. Fill up with air. And every exhale, just let yourself exhale slowly and softly. And you know, it's a really good thing to do is to count the number of seconds it takes to make that full deep inhale. And then as you're exhaling, compare it. Exhale and count the number of seconds so that you are noticing, and you'll be able to slow down by a second or two, both the inhale and the exhale, just by that focus. And that's the kind of focus that keeps us in the moment with ourselves. Pay attention to where you are. Feel your head and your heels, your shoulders, your hips, your arms, your legs, your chest. Feel the air on your bare skin compared to your clothing. And feel those clothes across your shoulders, around your upper chest, around your waist, down your arms, down your legs. Feel rings and watches and bracelets and necklaces and earrings and glasses. Feel the breath, really feel it. The inhaled air is cooler through your nose. As you draw it in, it swirls down your throat. It comes to the point of your collarbones where the air begins to enter into your lungs. Breathe it in fully and deeply and completely before you then slowly, slowly exhale and go limp. So that every moment you're in the moment with yourself. Because that little finishing touch is an act of meditation. And meditation is an act of growing the brain in the part of the brain that we would most identify as us. And it is telling our body to stop being all stressed out. And we need to remind ourselves to be in the moment with ourselves so that we do not practice being a more stressful self, because we know in our stressful self, we're not our best us. So create and craft the very best you, just by being with yourself, even if it's just for a moment or two, even if it's just a couple of minutes a day. Now, you can stay there for however long your day lets you, or you could begin to stretch, rolling to your side whenever you need. You may have some questions that you want to talk about here in class, especially those that are about the class we did. I can answer those because I remember it the most now. You can ask me questions later on just by giving me an email or a text message or a phone call. I appreciate it when you do. I hope you have a great rest of your day planned, much like Mr. Pogo here. He's got a great, busy, wonderful day planned for himself. I hope you do too. If you are not busy and would enjoy having some more relaxation and more gentle yoga and a breathing practice, I would invite you to come to the Deep Breath and More. It starts at 1 o'clock, and so that would be a lovely way to have a bit of a break from 1 to 2. Excellent work, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Hey, it's really pretty. And okay, although they change this all the time, in Houston, if you're in Houston, they say it's going to rain tomorrow. So go and enjoy the day right now. Right now. That's what Pogo's going to do. He says, I'm going to get out of here.
Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Julie. Take care.
Julie. Good to see you all. Oh, my God.
Julie, I have a quick question. Are we going to be able to access this class on your website?
This very class, I have not loaded up onto YouTube. That's a process, and as processes go, I'm really slow with processes. So
I can relate.
In the email that I sent you yesterday, you will find the links to the previous pre-recorded classes as well as several other classes, but this one does not automatically get loaded up there. But
I understand.
I'll keep in mind if you reminder emails always help me. You say the class that we did and you put the date down and you say, I would love to see that the next time I put a pre-recorded class on YouTube, I will select for the ones that people have requested. So,
This class was amazing. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It just really, really struck a chord with me in several ways. So I will send you an email. I'll remind you.
Send me an email because, I say I'll do it and then, oh my God, my brain, it just like empties out every.
I understand. Totally. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad
you are at the very top of my gratitude list today.
Oh, Bonnie, thank you.
Take care, Julie.
You take care too.
Thank you,
All right,
Julie.
thanks.
It's great.
Bye-bye.
Excellent. So glad for everybody to be here.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Excellent. Hope you have a great day. Oh, I get to see everybody's faces. This is lovely. Everybody's names. Good to see you all. And like I say, I come around at 1 and we'll get a chance to talk again. All right. Very good. Excellent. And I will see you later on. Bye for now.
Bye.